Yeah, that's right. We're back, and this ain't my first mortgage podcast. Welcome to the show, where we discuss all things mortgage sales, industry news, interviews of the top mortgage professionals, and more. Strap on in, enjoy the ride, and welcome to Ain't My First Mortgage Podcast. Ralph Remy, welcome to Ain't My First Mortgage Podcast, man. How we doing?
I'm doing great. It's nice to know that this isn't our first rodeo.
That's right, baby. It's not our first rodeo. So, listen, I'm so excited to have you on. I really appreciate you taking some time to come on here. For my listeners that don't know you, who you are, what you do, all that kind of fun stuff, take a second and introduce yourself for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Skip, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. I know we always have some great conversations when we see each other at different conferences throughout the country at this point, despite the fact that we both live in Georgia.
And then we're
it seems like
we see each other across.
We got to travel halfway across the country to see each other, as opposed to just maybe taking a drive and meeting up. But to answer your question, Ralph Remy, I am the Senior Director of Client Digital Experience at National MI. What does that mean? I lead our training and marketing team here at National MI. Over 20, 25 years in the business. Over the last probably 10 years or so, I've been kind of a little bit more into the training world and the marketing world, and really enjoy getting out there and doing presentations at our customer events and industry events. So really cool to be out there and share that with everybody, and our expertise and our knowledge that we've developed over the years, in hopes that others don't necessarily run into the stumbling blocks we've done throughout our years. Use that experience to help others.
Man, yeah, absolutely. And you are also a fellow CMB, which, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that.
That's right.
Nini would come after me if I didn't say something about that. So,
and we both have the initials on our Zoom.
On our Zoom. That's right.
That's right.
You cannot forget to do that.
That's right.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah. But, Ralph, you always do an awesome job. Anytime I've seen you speak, we run to each other across the country, different events, different organizations. And you always do a great job. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, is because you're so well thought of and you do such good work. So
thank you.
Yeah. So today I wanted to talk to you about utilizing one of the most, I guess, for lack of a better term, lowest hanging fruit, right? If you are out there and trying to grow your business and you have the availability of branches, all right? And we'll talk to you about that, because we discussed a little bit beforehand, kind of what should we focus on that. And when you brought that up, boom, it popped right on top of my head. So I'm going to turn it over to you right now. I'll interject, but I want you to talk about the importance of it and how to do it, man.
Yeah. So I think for our bank and credit union friends out listening to us, I mentioned my experience, 20, 25 years in the business. All of it was in a bank and credit union environment, whether it was on the retail bank side or the mortgage side. So I think that's what is a little unique, in that I'm able to talk about it from both perspectives. Mm-hmm. So what, you as a loan officer, how are you engaging your branch? From a branch perspective, how are you being engaged, and what are you looking for? Especially from the branch perspective, you've got people that they're being pulled in a bunch of directions. They've got investment bankers, you got business bankers, and you have us in the mortgage side all pulling at them for referrals. How do you differentiate yourself? And I always like to say, it really starts with education. How are we educating them? I think, Skip, you've probably heard this as much as I have, where, you have a bank or a credit union loan officer who has assigned a branch. And then, I've heard this complaint countless times, in that, the leads I get from the branch are just terrible. Like and my response is, well, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
And it all comes back to, how are we educating our bank partners, our branch partners, in helping them understand what is a valuable referral. And really, when I've done this training, I built this training out many years ago, and it comes from my experience. And I always like to talk about where I started in this industry while in college. I was a part-time teller at a credit union while going to college and while going to school. Do you think 19-year-old Ralph knew anything about a mortgage, or even what a mortgage was? Yet I was expected to refer to my mortgage loan officer. Well, it wasn't until I had a mortgage loan officer who sat down with me and said, hey, Ralph, this is what you're looking for. Here are what I call the cues and clues of your conversations. You're having conversations with our members, our customers, if you're in a bank, every single day. But these are the key things you need to be looking out for. And if you hear this, you don't need to sell anything because if the branch starts selling now, it becomes dangerous, right?
Yeah, because then you got to back up and correct, and it's just that's a bad situation. So yeah,
That's right. So it's just about bringing that education, using the branch huddles to not just be present physically, but be present, engaged in a way that you're bringing information, you're bringing knowledge. So that's really the bulk of what I talk about when it comes to that topic. And it's so valuable. I've spoken to countless bank executives on the retail banking side who say, oh my gosh, that topic's so relevant. And I'll never forget the first time I presented that topic and talked about the importance of that branch and mortgage loan officer relationship. And what are the things that you can be doing in a branch huddle, talking about what's happening in the market, talking about what's happening in our industry, and then also what are there opportunities for us to find referrals together. The first time I presented it, I didn't know the bank executive was in there. I thought I was speaking to a bunch of loan officers, and she came to me afterwards and said, Ralph, if I didn't know any better, I thought you'd work at our institution because that was spot on of what we need. And she's the first of all, I was like, great, I'm onto something here. But second, she was the first of many executives on the bank side, even though I'm not teaching her bankers or his bankers, I'm teaching their loan officers. They know the value of that partnership.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's one of those things. It's like, I mean, so I was doing a training yesterday with a credit union, and part of that talk was about referrals. And this is one of the most overlooked sources of referrals. And, and as you know, because you've been doing this, a long time, just like me, kind of makes us feel old, doesn't it? But,
I like to say I had hair when I got into this business.
And I had no gray. So, yeah, that's just the way it is. But the whole internal referral thing is cyclical, right? It's you start passing them around. It's all of a sudden you get a machine going, you get a flywheel kind of action going, and then everybody really benefits. But I love what you said about taking specific time to help them understand keywords, right? Trigger words. I know trigger's a dirty word in the mortgage business, but and if you're sitting there with a commercial or a consumer lender, say, hey, look, you don't have to be the expert, but if you hear a phrase like this, you hear these types of words, that should automatically ping you to ask these questions and then connect them with me. Right?
Agree.
Yeah. And so
100%.
So let me ask you this, because I always like to have the listeners to have a specific takeaway. Okay. What would be your top 3 pieces of advice if you are a mortgage loan officer at a bank or credit union to say, hey, I want to start today better utilizing my branch network, or even if, hey, you know what, let's just be honest, even if you don't have branches and just utilize the network of other bankers inside your own building, for God's sake, what would those 3 pieces of advice be?
Well, I kind of said the first one already, which is start with education.
Okay.
You've got to educate your team. Second is be present. And what I mean by that is not just say, hey, I'm at the branch, I'm sitting in one of the back offices and I'm here. No, when you're there, show up to the huddle, engage in the huddle, ask your branch manager, hey, can I get maybe 5 minutes of time to talk about a couple things? And it's not talking about asking for referrals. It's about bringing information to educate them to better find opportunities for you.
Yep.
And also engage them in terms of being a part of the team. I always like to say, you need to really entrench yourself so they don't see you as a line of business partner. They see you as part of their team. You are a teammate to them. So really education, start with education, be engaged, be present when you're there.
Yep.
And then third, and really to me could be the most important part, is share your value statement, as I like to say, share what makes you different than any other loan officer, whether it be in your company or to the credit union, bank, or IMB down the street.
Yeah.
Because if you can share who you are and what makes you valuable to your customers, to your credit union members, then that helps your bank teammates at the same time share that value statement. So
100%.
Education is key. Be present and make sure they know your value statement.
Okay. And so, those are 3 good things. Easier said than done. May require some work to do, right?
Absolutely.
And I want to add this. I want to get your 2 cents on it too, because the referral fee is a 2-way street, right?
Yeah.
You've also got to understand what the ideal customer looks like for the person that you're talking to, because you don't want to be a vampire, right? You don't want to just suck it out. You want to be sure that you also give life to their business too. So that's the only thing that I would probably add to it. What are your thoughts on that?
100%. And I was going to say, and I was trying to figure out how can I weed that into the three, but if there's
Yeah. I know I limited you. I'm sorry.
yeah, but at the same time, you're absolutely right, Skip. There's this amazing phenomenon that I love to talk about. That is first of all, as part of the getting to know them and being present, and engaged, it's not just you getting to know them; it's them getting to know you, and vice versa, personally, professionally, and your business. And you need to understand who's the ideal, just like they need to understand who your ideal customer or member is. You need to understand who their customer or member ideal is. Reason is you're getting referrals from your realtor base. They may or may not bank with your bank or credit union. So how do you bring them in? And what is it that you're looking for? Maybe going to networking events with your branch manager, invite them to yours and they'll invite you to theirs. But the biggest phenomenon I have seen is the moment you give your branch team a referral to them, checking account, investment, credit card, personal loan, whatever it is, you will receive it back tenfold. And the reason is they're not used to having a partner who is in, like you said, Skip, in the give and take. It's always just take and never a give. So as soon as they have a partner that truly feels like a partner, because I'm taking referrals, but I'm also giving back referrals, that is the game changer.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's good stuff, man. All right. Is there anything else that you want to share pertaining to this topic?
No, I mean, obviously, you know my passion for this topic.
That's why I love it
presented
so
it
much.
count times. I love it. And the reason I loved it is because I lived it. I've lived it, and I really feel there's opportunities out there. You called it the low-hanging fruit. It really is. If you're assigned a branch within your institution, that is customers that are not available to anyone else. So take the advantage of the opportunity that you have in front of you, while, especially as you build out, if you're newer in the business and you're building out the outside realtor relationships, financial planners, et cetera, you have a captivated audience. And I love to always start off with my presentations with this thought. And that is, if I walked in here today and I said, I've got 10 realtors ready to give you today that can only refer business to you, how many of you would say, yeah, I want that list? Everybody always raises their hand. The question is, are we thinking of our branch in the same light? Because our branch can only send business to you. The opposite side of the spectrum is that they don't send business at all. And once you're invisible, it's tough to get back from that. So really, it's just engage them, treat them as a referral partner, take people to lunch, have some contests within the branch to engage them, offer some lunch prizes, things like that, and get to know them and engage them the same way you would those outside referral partners.
100%, man. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. So as we draw to a close today, because I like to keep these short and sweet, I got some trivia for you if you game. Are you game for some Tampa Bay Rays?
We'll see how my score ends up when it's all said and done.
All right, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna start off easy for you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna start off easy. Okay, number one. What stadium do the Rays call home?
Tropicana Fields.
That is correct. That is correct. All right, we're gonna go mid-level here. Mid-level.
Okay.
All right. Who was the Rays' ace pitcher during their 2008 World Series run?
I'm gonna say David Price.
That is correct. That is correct. Talk about guys that fell off the face of the earth, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, boy, that was a mid-level, but I'll take it.
Okay, okay.
That was a little tougher. I had to think about that one for a second.
Well, now this one's supposed to be mid-level. This one to me is hard. I'll be extremely impressed if you get this. Okay, who holds the franchise record for stolen bases?
Carl Crawford.
Oh my goodness gracious, got it. That is amazing. I love it. I love it. All right. Last one. Now, these are supposed to be super hard, but well, if you get this, you're gonna be like the Rain Man here. All right. What was the Rays' record in their inaugural 1998 season?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Let's throw
Best guess.
60 wins is 102 losses. So I'll say 50 and 112.
Not too far off. 63 and 99.
Okay. All right.
63 and 99. But you know what? For an inaugural year, hey, what'd you expect, right?
That's right.
Hey, you know what? The Rockies, when they came in 93, they're still there at 63 and 99. So, all right, man. Is there anything else that you want to share with the listeners today?
No, what I would just say is just keep fighting the good fight. In this industry, there's always good days and there's off days. Just know that the good days are ahead. The key is just continue to do the right activities. If you put in the work, you'll reap the benefits in the long run. Even if you don't see it today, you're definitely going to see it tomorrow. So just, keep consistent in your activities and it'll all turn for you. So, that's really what I'll say to everybody is just keep that positive spirit going. The good times are always ahead.
I love it, man.
Just
All right,
as our Rays, Rockies, and Braves, right?
yes, for sure. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, where should they go? What should they do?
The email, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, obviously, just look me up, Ralph Remy. And you can always email me at ralph.remy@nationalmi.com. And I'd love to communicate and connect with anybody out there that's looking for additional insights on their business, or even just from an MI perspective, or of course, our topic today of how to engage your branches in a different way.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Skip, for having me. It was fun.